N the word, a saying I'm sure many of you have already encountered at some point about stopping the use of the R word. Organizations such as Special Olympics and Best Buddies make an earnest effort to stop this word from spreading throughout society, to stop being used so lightheartedly. Yet, the word seems to roll off our tongues and in one ear and out the other, without a second thought. Is it our fault that we become numb to the things that we hear so often? Hi, my name is Nadia Talaksi, and today I'm going to start by defining the word empathy. Empathy is defined as the action of understanding, being aware of, or sensitive to another's experiences, feelings, or thoughts without having the same present feelings or thoughts. Simply stated, empathy is trying to understand someone else's situation when you may not have experienced the same thing yourself. But do we always know how or when to empathize with others? We hide from our emotions by neglecting to feel empathy. As a society, lacking empathy is why we become numb to the things that we hear. The terrorist attacks in Paris, France in 2015 flooded social media. As a result, Facebook released solidarity filters, which allowed users to overlay a French flag on their original profile picture. The purpose was to unite people from around the world, attacking a common enemy, terrorism. In just 3 days, this solidarity filter had 120 million users empathizing with 130 victims. However, many people pointed out the lack of attention to similar, much larger scale issues occurring in Lebanon and Syria. Many argued that this is because we live in a Westernized society, and these issues don't bother us unless they directly affect us or our loved ones. Now, how does this speak about our ability to empathize? Our power to feel emotions is automatically catered and filtered to our own needs. We put ourselves first without even realizing it. But does that mean that we shouldn't try to understand someone else's situation by relating it to one of our own? We don't want to take the time out of our days to empathize with others. Instead, we all say, that's terrible, or at least they have this, or at least this bad. No act of empathy begins with the words, at least. This string of words puts us on a pedestal and makes us seem more superior to the other person that we are speaking to, which is exactly what we don't want. Who here can remember learning about Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Proclamation? I know I do. I remember being in 2nd grade and learning about this great president of ours who made a happy ending to an ugly war. 8 years passed by before I learned the truth. This year, in my 11th grade history class, I learned that the Emancipation Proclamation only freed slaves in the South, and therefore was a political tactic Lincoln used in order to have an upper hand in winning the war. I was equally as surprised to learn that over half of my class didn't know this either. We by saying, at least he freed the slaves in the South, or at least it was a step in the right direction. Our Civil War is now 4 years to be ingrained into our brains forever and part of our history curriculum. Now, who can remember when the US first sent troops into Afghanistan? I wish I could say I did, but I don't, because I wasn't even a year old yet. 2001. 2001 to 2018. For 17 long years, our country has been fighting for the rights of the people of Afghanistan. Families displaced, homes ruined, and civilians sacrificed. But something's not right. Why don't we hear about this in the news? Is it because we have become numb to hearing about it? Or is it because we have lost our ability to empathize with others? No. If any of you have watched the news recently, you know what it usually revolves around. A new tweet, or maybe another school shooting. Did your heart stop? Because I know mine did. Now, why is that? When we just talked about a similar situation occurring on a much larger scale in Afghanistan, that a school shooting makes us wince. As a society, we have the power to hear what we want and to feel what we want. This phenomenon is called selective empathy. Selective empathy is a tactic which we used to believe psychopaths would use in order to not feel guilty for committing crimes or for hurting others. But now, we feel for one thing and not for the other? Is it the same thing? As a society, we more empathy towards the victims of school shootings because it feels more immediate to ourselves. whereas in the war, these children might be the same age or younger. As a society, we need to keep in mind that everyone's pain is valid. Though we depend on our experiences to guide us, we have the power to let others know that they are not alone, that though we may not have felt that way before, we can empathize with them by imagining ourselves going through a similar situation. Lastly, my personal connection to the topic arose a couple of weeks ago when I got into a car accident with my dad. It was Super Bowl night, and someone was clearly in a hurry to get somewhere. The distracted driver ran a red light and hit us in a head-on collision in the middle of a major intersection. After the accident, I had some time to reflect on why I had never imagined it happening to me before. It's not a conventional situation, a car crash, but we never expect it to happen to us, right? Try to remember the last time you were using the GPS on your phone to get somewhere. We see that there's an accident along our route, and that the system can either redirect us to a longer route, or we can sit in traffic for an extra 15 minutes when we are on the street. But do we ever stop to think if the people involved are all right? If anyone was injured or worse? This is the power of empathy. We as humans can empathize with others by simply telling them, you are not alone. I experienced it firsthand, but I'll try to understand what you're going through in any way that I can. We can stop hiding from our emotions and start using the theory of selective empathy and use our past experiences to guide us. Thank you.